Welcome, my friend, to another Chef Lance show. And today, a very special treat done with a very special friend of mine, Juan. And this is ceviche. In these hot summer months, you couldn't find a more delicious, refreshing, and light thing to have either for an appetizer or an early dinner or a late dinner or at the pool. This stuff is absolutely delicious. Chef Juan here, I've known for a while. We met in culinary school. We didn't go together. I was one of his instructors, so he's really shaping up. He's going to be a great chef, and I think one day you're planning on doing a food truck, right?
Well, you never know.
You never know. So
You
he's
never
got
know.
some plans. Juan's family is from Mexico, and so he's bringing this delicious Central and South American dish to us today. So when we come back, we're going to get right to this thing. So I'll see you around the corner. All right, welcome back, my friend. And now I'm going to let Juan take over here. We actually have the fish, and he's going to show you some of the little minor details you have to pay attention to. But Juan, go ahead. What are we doing here?
Hey, welcome back again. We are going to start trimming our actual fish and actually cleaning it up. A lot of times when you buy the fish, you just don't know if it's going to have extra skin like this right here. And so what I do is I normally just trim some of this fish skin off of it. You don't want none of that in there. Uh, right? And so move that to the side. Also, you want to look for bones or, when you feel it, you touch it, you can use some tweezers, take out the bones, or like this piece, it's a bone slash cartilage. So what you want to do is just trim some of that off. Okay. And a little tough, but all right. You kept it together. Here's some more. You just want to take some of that skin
So
off.
basically, anything you don't want to be eating
Correct.
for texture or for other reasons. You don't want to eat bones because you could choke on those.
Absolutely. I'm going to turn it around, flip it over. Some of this is part in there. So what I look for more is anything hard or something that's like a muscle that, for example, this right here. This
It would be tough to chew, wouldn't it?
tough to chew. It just makes it unpleasant whenever you're actually biting into it. Um, Sometimes it's easy to get off, sometimes it's not. So
Now this was the skin side of the fish, so
correct.
it's been skinned,
It's
but
skin.
there's pieces of the skin remaining, some of that membrane. Is that something we need to be concerned about?
Some of it, like I said, the one I just took off,
If it's extra tough?
it was extra tough. Similar to this, it's super tough.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel it. For the most part, you can actually feel it. This part looks rough, but it's actually soft and tender.
Okay.
It's just keeping the fish together. So I'm not going to cut that off. But if you wanted to actually look really, really nice, then I would do it. And it's, you just get under here, just get it off. It's a little bit, so small pieces.
Okay.
But again, the more you pay attention to see some of the muscle,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
the more you pay attention to your actual fish, the better experience you're going to have. And you'll see later when you bite into it, you don't want to bite into.
So anytime you buy fresh fish or that's been filleted, you can't always just go 100% thinking all the bones have been removed. There are some salmon's another example where there are pin bones sometimes very easily missed. And so do yourself and your family a favor and always check for that and take the time to remove them. That's called cooking with love.
Absolutely. All right, so here I'm actually just getting some of the muscle. You can feel some of the muscle in the back where the skin was, some of the cartilage you can see, and all right, okay, let's come together.
All right, then.
Okay, this is more for aesthetics here on this side.
You want to clean this off the board.
Okay. So again, we've already washed it, and
yeah. So go mention how you wash it, just so they understand what you're trying to accomplish with that.
so when you actually wash it, one of the biggest thing is sometimes the fish has a stickiness. You want to actually get the stickiness out of. Sometimes it has an odor. You know, you want that odor gone, of course, because it'll catch into the flavor.
So, there's a big debate amongst some chefs about whether you rinse your proteins off or not, right? So, Brian, this is for you if you're listening. I'm a rinser. Brian and I have this debate frequently, but it's the juices from this are what actually grow bacteria in the right conditions, and so if we can get that removed, and most of the time we want to deal with our proteins in as dry a state as possible.
Absolutely.
So. So another reason, and then you're going to rinse it. You're going to pat it dry, and yeah, thought that was a bone, but it's not.
No, actually, it's not. I felt it, and everything looks good. It's ready to cut.
What are we doing next?
I'll cut this one just for. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna dice this fish here. So I do is use just the small squares, right? So here we fillet at an angle.
Is there any particular size you're going to go for?
I want just a cube size, and it's just kind of like how much you would put in your mouth,
I got you, like bite size.
Bite size, right?
Yeah.
So here we have nice size right here, and again the lime's going to cook it. It's actually going to break it down.
So he just mentioned lime's going to cook it. We haven't taken the opportunity to talk about ceviche and what's going on. And so Juan, just correct me if I go astray here, but cooking is nothing but a denaturing of proteins. Heat, we do it with heat all the time. It's what turns the fish from this color to like a white opaque color that the heat does. But acid also causes denaturing, which is essentially cooking it without heat. So a lot of people mistakenly call this a raw fish dish. It is not. The fish is actually thoroughly cooked with the acid and the citrus juice, whatever you use. Now, there are some citrus fruit have more acid than others, would you say?
Absolutely.
So lime is pretty high, lemon is pretty high. Orange juice, maybe not so much, not quite as high. So have you ever done a ceviche with orange juice?
I haven't done it personally, but I have tasted it with orange, and what it does, it gives it a nice flavor, a nice citrusy orange flavor.
Do you have to add additional acid to get it to cook, or you just leave it in longer?
I would, if I did it only with orange juice, I would definitely leave it longer. I've done it with different kinds of citruses. I know in Mexico there's a different kind of citrus, and in Guam there's different citruses that you can actually use. So I've tried a little bit of everything, and again the different citruses actually change the flavor.
Right.
And the different fishes change the flavor. Again, we're using a Pacific cod today, and normally what I use a halibut, Chilean. I've used it in a Chilean sea bass. I've used it in a lot of fishes, but a lot of the fishes I don't recommend.
And you mentioned tilapia is in that category. You don't recommend tilapia?
No, it's just too strong flavor. You could do it, of course, if you had to.
Right.
If you want to capture the great flavor.
So I'm holding in my hand about the size that he wants to do. Now he's getting to this tail section. It was already broken up a little bit in the handling before we got to it. So, that's going to be a little smaller, but this is kind of the size you want to go for, or depending on what, and again, as the citric acid, the citric juice with the acid in it, citric acid, I'll get it right in a second. Easy for you to say, guys. Actually cooks this, and so it will break down a little bit into smaller pieces, as you would any kind of heat cooking would do that as well. So we're going to dice all this, and then we'll get on to actually, there's pretty simple. You use lime juice,
salt,
little pepper.
Absolutely.
And is that it?
Yeah, essentially when I actually do cook it in the lime juice, I want the lime juice to actually do its work.
Yeah.
So I don't want to interrupt it too much.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the only two that I would introduce, the only two condiments that I would introduce would be salt and pepper.
Yeah. Okay. Now
Um,
the salt will actually have not just a flavoring component, but it actually works on the protein of the fish as well as it does all proteins. It also denatures the protein. I talked about that a little bit in my brining video, which is going to be, I don't know, somewhere wherever we put videos. I also have a link down in the description. You can check out where I brine a chicken and talk a little bit about the processes of what's going on. But essentially, in brining or with salt added to protein, it actually goes in, denatures the protein, causes it to create a web. They say it unravels the protein, and they restructures it, and it actually holds more moisture as a result of that. So it's really a great technique for all proteins, and part of it's working on this here. All right, what's next?
As you can see, I spread the actual fish on the actual bowl. So when we actually introduce the lime to it,
Right.
the pepper and stuff, then everything gets actual lime and pepper.
Okay.
And,
So what do you want first?
let me try the salt
You want to
first.
put some salt on there?
Right.
Okay.
So we'll grab some
Here's your
salt.
pepper.
Right.
Now this doesn't look like ordinary coarse grind black pepper. What do you have here?
We have a white pepper right
Uh-huh.
here. You know, so the white pepper has great flavor, just
Mhm.
like regular pepper. But when you have a white fish like this right here, you don't want to change the color. You want to
Yeah.
make sure and see that it's actual
Gotcha.
true color.
And by the way, white pepper and black pepper do taste and have different heat effects. And at least I've noticed that. Now, white pepper has a more subtle at the back of the throat for me than does black pepper.
So what I do is I mix it in there, get it in there just like that. You can actually see the color of and feel the actual peppers in there.
I hope you can see this fish is actually pretty dry right now.
Sure is, but we're gonna fix that.
We're gonna cause it to swim, aren't we?
Absolutely. Well, okay. So now we're gonna add the lime juice.
There's the lime juice. And by the way, this is fresh. Go ahead. I'm not interrupting you.
No, absolutely. Go ahead.
It's freshly squeezed lime juice, and as in all things, if you can do fresh squeezed, by all means do it, because the difference it makes both in the freshness and the flavor is really remarkable. Now you could use a bottled one, and it has the acid you need, but the pop of the fresh, plus you can zest your lime that way.
You know, and we will be zesting
Yeah.
lime later on. And
I'm a big zesting fan. So.
And it just adds so much more flavor.
It does.
It just captures it.
Yeah.
Again, this portion right here is just cooking it. The other one's going to add the actual flavor.
Perfect. All right.
So
there you go. So just right now, salt and pepper. Now he's pouring the lime juice.
Also, what I want to add,
Yeah.
it's these are about 5 limes, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And again, it's not the number that's magical, but it's the fact that you're going to want to cover your fish product completely so that it's all in contact with the acid.
So we have plenty of lime juice in there, right? So what we want to do is just want to mix it up. You want it to get into every piece of grain.
So what he's doing now is just making sure that all the surfaces of the fish are coated or touching the lime in some way. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
And so you can push it, and when you can tell, like once it hits the lime, it's actually breaking it down. So these pieces that are a little bit hard, as you can see, it's already turning opaque. It's like a nice white, and this is almost instant.
Yes.
As we start putting it in there.
Now we're not going to eat this instantly. Tell us about what happens to it after this.
All right. So normally, if I had a little bit more time, I actually leave it overnight, and it cooks it perfectly.
Right.
So when you wake up in the morning, it's a real nice bright white type of color.
Oh yeah.
But for this video purposes, minimum requirements, obviously about anywhere between 2 to 3 hours.
Now, does that vary with the kind of fish, or is that pretty standard, or the size of the fish?
It's how you get the lemon inside of that fish, and we don't have that much fish here, so it's gonna be based on the size, the amount. And what I recommend to a lot of people, if you're gonna eat it the same day, just mix it. Get in there every 30 minutes to an hour, and just mix it.
Yeah.
So that way it gets in there.
Perfect. Okay. Cool. So this is it.
This is it. This is how we cook it.
And so now so I have read that if it's warmer, you can actually cook it faster. than if it's chilled. So how long, what's the maximum you would let this sit out without being refrigerated?
I technically don't let it sit out.
By the way, I'm on that side of the fence too. I think it's
So
just safer to put it in there and leave it
when we leave it
in
in
the
the
refrigerator. I mean,
this is going to be a cold type of appetizer or food, and so preferably I want it chilled.
Yep.
Can you leave it out? Yes, I have seen that with beef and this one.
Yeah.
And then also in Guam, they use it for chicken calaguan. They call it calaguans. They have, they have beef, chicken, and
So you can actually use this on beef and chicken?
absolutely.
Oh, wow. I've never had that before.
You know, I was really afraid to actually use it on chicken or eating chicken with it, but the Chamorro people actually do a great job with the calaguans.
Fantastic. So right now we're just going to put a wrap on this, pop it in the fridge, and we'll come back and put the rest of it together in what, 3-4 hours?
Absolutely.
All right. So guys, we'll see you around the corner. And when we do, listen, it's that simple. That simple. When we come back, Juan's going to make a wonderful aioli dressing for us. We're going to toss that in. We're going to kind of nibble along the way. Just make sure you got the seasonings right. Then we'll plate that bad boy, and you know what that means. Tasting time will soon follow.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We will see you around the corner. All right, welcome back, my friend. And we are getting ready to finish up the ceviche and then plate it. So, Juan, what are we doing next?
So next, the most important thing that we're going to do is we're going to take out our fish, or that's going to turn into a ceviche. We're going to take it out of the refrigerator. It's been cooking at least 3 hours for today, but most of the time we actually leave it overnight.
Right, right. So again, we're putting it in citric acid, right? And the acid is actually cooking, or as they say in the biz, denature the proteins. But it's the same texture and appearance as that heat would give to the fish as well, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to bring this out. So Juan's got it. It's been overnight. So you would recommend overnight, right?
I would recommend overnight just because it gives it, you're ensure that everything
is cooked properly, and it gives it, I guess, more flavor to it.
Absolutely.
All right. So show us what we're going to do next. So I'm pretty excited. Guys, in the heat of summer like we're in right now, this is a light thing that you can, I love ceviche. I mean, you can do it in so many ways as well. So what we got?
And so this is a Pacific cod right here. You can try, different kinds of fish. My favorite fish is halibut, of course.
Right.
This is Chilean sea bass is one of the most popular ones going on right now, but this one's a simple Pacific cod, and it's just a good price and a good fish to be able to do this.
Excellent. So could you also, now you're going to do what with this next?
So what we're going to do is we're going to strain the juice out of that.
Okay.
And the juice, what we're going to do is we're going to combine it and make it into an aioli.
Oh, okay. So an aioli is so we're doing this kind of like a salad then.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
All right, excellent. All right.
All right.
Now, could you use? Go ahead, and I'm just going to ask you. Could you use shellfish? Could shrimp, lobster?
Absolutely.
Anything like that be?
So yeah, we have in the Latin world we have a lot of recipes that use shellfish. Shrimp. We do a ceviche shrimp, and we also do there isn't a lot of different recipes that call for that.
Excellent.
So on here, what I'm doing is I'm actually moving it around so that way it can actually strain a little bit of the juice. And, whenever we introduce the aioli into it, it actually just grabs it a little bit better. It just does
not as soggy, not as wet.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you want to taste fish. You don't want to taste pure lime whenever you just dip into it. And so it smells so good. You could tell it's cooked. It's ready to go. And here,
it's beautiful, actually.
We cube this fish, right? But whenever you're straining it, it's going to fall apart because it actually tells you it's actually cooking it. And you want these pieces. They're nice bite-sized pieces, No,
you don't want to manhandle it, so you don't want to break it up into shredded or anything like that.
You don't want to shred it, but at the same time, if it shreds, it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. I don't have no issue with it.
All right.
Okay. So here we go.
Okay. Got that going. What's next?
All right. Now we're going to start our aioli, right? We're going to introduce the lemon back into a different pot. Most people would actually get rid of that. They don't want to.
But it's all that flavor.
It's all that flavor. It's just,
Right.
It's just
Wow.
like a stock, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
Exactly what it's
fantastic.
like.
Okay,
So what are
so
we doing next?
the next thing is what we're going to do is we're going to introduce here. What I realized is we have just a tad bit more than normal, right? And so I'm going to take a little bit off of
Well,
that.
you know, you can always add more, but you can't take it out.
Exactly. So, and we're going to add, the first thing we're going to add is our mayonnaise, right? You can just get any kind of mayonnaise. We got a third of a cup here. We're going to add it in there.
Now, yeah, guys, you can use your favorite mayonnaise. There's no special thing. If I'm going to buy a mayonnaise, I'm a Duke's guy myself, but plenty of people like Hellman's or Kraft, or you do you, right? If you have a mayonnaise you love, just use that. You don't have to follow a specific brand. Or I have a video somewhere about how to make your own mayonnaise. You can do that as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I do actually like making my own mayonnaise, but now, like I said, on this recipe, for some reason, I use a already store-bought mayonnaise because just the consistency has been sitting a little longer.
A store-bought mayonnaise is going to be a little thicker, a little firmer than a homemade mayonnaise. That's just, I don't know what they do to it. I think they use whole eggs. I typically use egg yolks only. But either way, it is a little thicker. And so when you're doing a salad dressing like this, you may want to go the store-bought route.
Absolutely. All right, so I kind of diluted my mayonnaise in there. The next thing we want to add is our actual ketchup. Okay, so we're going to do about a third of a cup of ketchup. All right, and this adding ketchup was actually an accident.
Oh, really?
It wasn't.
Tell me about that.
You know, I was looking to sweeten it up. I was out in Alaska catching halibut with my friend Joe. You know, like my friend, the gringos, they like the sweet stuff. So I ended up.
Yeah, gringos do.
Yeah, you know, and so we added a little bit of ketchup to it, and it actually tasted pretty good.
Yeah.
We're like, whoa! We ended up adding more ketchup, kind of to the same consistency of the actual mayonnaise.
Wow.
And so
it's amazing how many food discoveries are accidental, right? I mean,
absolutely.
It's just for what was I just thinking about? Not the margarita. Yeah, maybe I think the margarita pizza was just on the spur of the moment. They had someone special and like, oh, let me throw this together for you. Caesar salad was the same way. Caesar dressing was invented because they didn't have what they normally had, so they found all these ingredients, put it together, and a miracle was born, right? So
I do Caesar salads all the time.
Do you
actually.
really? Yeah.
Every day, actually, I do Caesar salads. So.
Are you heavy on the anchovy or no?
No, we actually no.
No?
The actual Caesar dressing is already pre-made for us.
Okay.
So we actually put.
Oh, you're talking about in the restaurant you're working
Absolutely,
at.
yes.
So, when I make my own, I'm an anchovy lover. In fact, I love anchovy pizza. So I'd like some fresh anchovy in my Caesar salad.
I have yet to actually have anchovy pizza.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, you got to try that sometime, man.
I just experimented with foie gras and.
Did you?
Yes,
did you like it?
Absolutely, yeah. So. It was an acquired taste, but at the same time, yes, I realized the techniques that it was cooked under.
Exactly.
And it was just fantastic.
I just recently went to a Ceviche seminar it was a 3-day seminar. And one of the things we cooked was foie gras.
What?
Yeah. And
it was sous vide style?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we sous vide it. And it's amazing. That whole process of sous videing and listen, I thought I knew a little bit about sous videing because I've been doing it a few years, but I didn't know nothing from nothing, as we say in Saline County. So I'm just telling you, man, the techniques and the methods they used in that seminar were just outrageous. But I'll get it deeper in my membership community where we were going to talk about those kind of details and teach those things. But the sous vide method, by the way, sous vide, most people think of it as a water bath with a circulator. Sous vide means in French and translated, it's under vacuum. And so you don't have to use the water bath. We actually put some of the product we were making into a steamer. We're talking ceviche. How'd you get me started down that rabbit hole?
All these techniques kind of blend into what we do now.
Yeah.
And sous vide is actually one of those methods that most restaurants are actually utilizing to save time.
So
time and pre-cooking items. And so the more I'm into, working in a restaurant and learning all these techniques is you got to save time. So manpower, efficiency, manpower. flavor.
So
personally. Yeah,
I can chase rabbits all day. You know that. So this is interesting. It's kind of coming. I would call it kind of a pinkish peach, some kind of color like that. But you've got the whiteness from the fish and the lime juice. You've got the mayonnaise. Then you added the red from the tomato, and it's got a beautiful color going on. So what he's doing right now that you can't see from over there is that he's breaking up all the mayonnaise particles. We should have gotten you a whisk. Is what we should have gotten you.
you know, we learned, but at the same time,
Lindsay, I forgot something else, brother. So this one's for you.
One of the things is like this mayonnaise right here. It's going to introduce into the fish, so it's going to grab onto it. So these imperfections that we think that it's an error. I think it's a plus, right?
Yeah.
But now, we got most of it mixed pretty good. We're going to add a little bit of salt, right?
Okay.
So we're going to let it. I'll say about. Just got to be generous because it's gonna go on the fish. So you want to make sure that the fish is nice.
Now, even though this juice came off of the fish, there's nothing you could taste this right now, and you could taste it'd be just fine because it cooked the fish. So there's no raw juices. I'm getting that stepping out of your way.
Oh yeah, no, thank you.
So there's no raw juices here. This is all now juice that came from the lime juice and the fish, and the lime juice cooked the fish.
Okay, next we're going to add a little bit of pepper. All right, so we got a white pepper, and that way it won't disturb the actual color, but it gives it the flavor that it actually needs. I'm going to add a little bit more.
So that's also a very important point. If you're, for example, you're making a lemon butter sauce, what we call a beurre blanc, a lemon beurre blanc, and some people like to add pepper to theirs. I'm mostly a salt only guy, but if you do add pepper to something that's supposed to be a light in color, white pepper is an excellent choice to go to for that.
Absolutely.
Looking good.
All right. The next thing is, I never got to meet my dad. So if you're out there, please contact me. But I would always ask my mom, hey, how does my dad look like? And she said, he looked like that. And so,
so this is your dad's sauce.
No, well, yes, my dad's sauce.
All right. So for us gringos out there, how do you pronounce that sauce?
That is called tapatio.
Tapatio? Did I say it correctly?
That's pretty close. Yeah,
is that bad for a gringo?
No, that's not bad. It's pretty good to go. So,
Tapatio.
So this one right here is actually my favorite out of all the sauces for this item right here. Again, every sauce has a different use for it, but this one's probably one of the most common in the Latin world. Any store that you can go to, you can actually get that.
Perfect.
What I do is I add a little bit of spice because it just takes it up another notch. It adds to the ketchup very, very well. All right. So
I'm serious when I ask, did I pronounce it correctly? Because I found out at that same seminar I mentioned that a spice that I've been calling tajin is tahine.
Tahine, yes.
And I've totally forgot that J's are pronounced with an H sound.
Correct.
So
Correct.
tahine,
Tahine, right.
It's a great spice. I love tahine. I just didn't know how to say the name.
We put it on all kinds of fruits.
Yeah.
We cut up fruits. Anything that's a fruit, we add tahine to it.
That's interesting because that's exactly what we were doing. We were doing it on watermelon.
Well,
and then we compressed the watermelon with vacuum packing it. And it was and it was delicious.
So we add, like I said, I've seen that on margaritas, on watermelon margaritas or lime margaritas. It's a flavor that just really any kind of fruits that we add. We add salt, lime, and hot sauce.
Nice.
So basically, that's your three flavors for the tahine. That's what creates it, but it's in a dry rub. So it's perfect. We love it.
Well, it was absolutely delicious. I can see why it's a big deal. So.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Anyway, so now we got that in there.
Okay.
And what we're going to add is the surprising thing is we're going to add a little bit of olive oil.
Okay.
And what this does
now, does Mexico grow olives at all? Is that grown in Mexico?
I'm pretty sure they do.
I mean, it seems like they have the climate.
They have the climate for it,
right?
And I don't see why not. I'm pretty sure it's closer to Italian climate.
Yeah.
So, I don't know per se if they grow 'em, but I would have to actually do a little bit more research.
Okay.
And then ask my primos.
I just a wild random question I had. So
Yeah, definitely put me on the spot there. I'll ask some of my cousins and see. You know, I'm pretty sure I got some over there. Someone growing some.
Didn't you just come back from a trip? Of course you have cousins over there.
Yes, I do. Quite a bit. For this amount right here, we got about a cup in this liquid. I use about maybe a tablespoon, and that this oil right here adds to the actual flavor of the fish.
Mm-hmm.
It just captures, you know. It's like I said, it's like a salad dressing,
mm-hmm.
essentially.
So what I didn't understand for the longest time was that oil helps transmit flavors. It not only adds flavor component itself, it also adds mouthfeel, but it actually, many of the spices are fat soluble, and they will be transported more easily when you add a little bit of oil to it. So yeah, that's a great addition.
So this is basically the actual sauce for the fish, and what we're going to do next is we're going to combine it.
Okay.
We're going to combine it.
Do I need to get some gloves on, or you got that? Handy?
No, I can take care
I like
of that.
this kind because he's doing all the work, and I get to watch and ask questions.
You know, so here we have this bigger bowl here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the lemon off, the rest of the lemon, pour it back in here.
That woke me up.
Sorry about that,
That's
folks.
all right. Woke me up.
All right. And we're going to add the fish in this bigger bowl, right? Okay. So we have, and let me move this out of the way.
Yeah, I've got that for you.
All right. So
that's the least I can do.
So we have this fish here. If you guys can see it, it's somewhat cubed a little bit, some falling apart because it's very well cooked. All right. So for the most part, is really a nice white shade. Right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce this sauce that we just created.
You know, I know you like to use halibut, but cod is such a versatile fish in general. I mean, for me, the best fish and chips are made with cod, in my opinion. But I love cod, just in all kinds of applications. So
yeah, I have no issue. I have no issue with cod, like I said, and that's the reason why I picked it. One, you know, when we're teaching this recipe to you know, the people out there. All the viewers, we want to, it's feasible and it doesn't cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want something that costs, you know, $50 to make.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the problem with, and no one loves Chilean sea bass more than me, but it's the most expensive fish in the world. I mean, like $50-something a pound, wholesale.
Wow. That's incredible.
Well, that's fresh, not frozen. So it's cheaper frozen. So
and this is about $8 to $9 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
big difference.
This is about $10 worth right here.
Okay.
And so we don't want to break the bank.
No.
So we're going to add this to it.
All right.
We're going to use our handy dandy spatula. All right.
And literally, you made the sauce. You're just pouring it over. So.
Absolutely. So let me
get this out of the way.
Thank you, Chef. Anyways, now what you do is you're just mixing it. You know, you're mixing it. It has this nice, kind of like a salmon pink color to it.
It does, actually.
Now, you can tell that it's actually grabbing onto the flavor, okay? But the greatest thing is now that you put it in there, right? Now what you're going to do is introduce some of the vegetables. And, you know, sometimes whenever I make this, some of my friends actually call it, you know, halibut salsa or, you know, cod. In this case, it'd be.
Oh, they're actually calling it salsa.
Because it has a lot of the items that you actually need, right?
Gotcha.
All right. But before we add the salsa ingredients, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of zest. You know, this is a great chef actually taught me how to add a little bit of zest to it. And what the zest does, it actually gives it additional flavor. And you're going to be able to taste it. As soon as you take a bite out of it, you're going to be able to taste it. And it's going to just going to add to the experience.
So I used, as I've talked about before, my handy dandy microplane for zesting. It's absolutely the most perfect tool for that. I've got a link down in the description for it. It's also on my webpage with the tools that I use. And besides that, it's made right here in my home state, mine and Juan's home state. So,
that's right. That's right.
Halfway in between here and where he grew up, Russellville.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I grew up in Rogers, Arkansas.
Right. That's in Northwest Arkansas.
Northwest Arkansas. So, yeah, it's a little bit up there, about 3.5 hours from here, right?
Yeah, just under 3.5 hours. Mm-hmm. And so just you guys don't have you didn't want an Arkansas geography lesson, but Rogers and Bentonville, Arkansas are sister cities. Literally, one ends, the other one begins. It's just crazy. They just overlap. Not they don't overlap, but they're what am I trying to say? City limits together. So Bentonville is the home of a large retail chain. You may have, the people that wear the blue vests and that stuff. So that's kind of the 800-pound gorilla in that part of the world. They drive the economy, as you can imagine. And Rogers and Bentonville are really there to, it's one big area in Benton County. So
absolutely,
more than you wanted to know. I love that area, by the way. I lived up there for a dozen years. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, at least a dozen years.
At least a dozen years, and so
okay, what do we got
here? You got the nice color and consistency. You got the sauce that's added in there, makes that little green area, and I think the most important thing it's grabbing onto the fish, and once you grab a taste of the fish, it's actually going to give it a nice, zing to it. All right, so now with every recipe you want to add something healthy and good, and obviously today
I don't know why in there is not healthy and good.
Oh, it is healthy. It's all natural.
Oh, you mean tomatoes and vegetables?
This is a really healthy recipe for the most part.
No, it really is. It's great for a hot summer day too.
Oh my goodness, yeah, you can. So now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce some of the tomatoes, right? So here we have about 2 tomatoes, and we diced them up finely, cubed. Finally, and
by the way, I have never diced tomatoes as finely as Juan had me do these today. I started saying, no, they got to be smaller. Oh my goodness! So they're probably still not small enough, but these are very, very, very fine, like almost a brunoise. If you're familiar with that,
and it's funny. When I was going through his class, obviously he was my chef, and he taught me how to dice and stuff. So he was a little bit harder on me, but now I get to be harder on him. So that's fun.
That's what makes this fun.
All right. So, we have about 2 tomatoes here, but we're not going to add them all because you kind of have to know how much fish you have. You don't want to overpower it with one vegetable or another. So you just have to, use your palate or your taste based on, what you like. So here, I think I'm going to only use about half, but I'm not going to.
Now you're going to use the juice as well in here, or you just kind of gauge it by how it looks.
Right. So this, if you can see, the ceviche already has plenty of juice. So I'm going to try to avoid putting juice in there. But if your ceviche was a little bit more dry or not as wet, I would actually use some of the tomato juice. To kind of augment it.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to just scoop some out in there, just add it in there, similar to this.
So again, this is not baking. You don't have to have precise measurements, but culinary, you just do things by taste, by eye, texture.
And here, if you can see, I'm just folding it in there. I don't want to smash the tomatoes. I don't want to whip it in there. I just want to fold them in there and just kind of gently seeing it's grabbing some of the juices that's in there and making it a little bit more hearty. Just a better texture overall. You can tell beautiful red in there, not too overpowering. It just adds to it. All right. Next, we're going to add, what we got next, Chef?
We've got some cilantro.
Oh, yes, cilantro.
Cilantro. We've got some diced red onions.
Absolutely.
And actually, these are more of a mince and minced jalapenos.
All right. So let's start with the onions. The red onion is not as powerful. And when the first time I actually used the red onion, most of the time I've seen the white onion, but I had a Colombian ceviche. Everybody does it a little bit different, but what I realized with the red onion, it's not as powerful. It doesn't take away. It just adds to the actual flavor.
Right.
So I believe that the red onion is the best.
The one to use, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just add to it. Here we have about 2 cups worth, but we're only going to use about a cup or 2/3 of a cup, give or take.
Gotcha.
Okay. Let me get one of these towels, Chef. I'll be right behind you. And just stick to my glove.
He let me stir.
Absolutely.
There we go.
So now, again, we're going to be folding it in there, right? We want to get in there, mix it in there really good. That's a nice, beautiful color. Now it's actually thickening up. Love it. It's soaking up a lot of the, and the vegetables, the reason why we add them late is because the lime cooks the vegetables. So if you add the vegetables right off the bat,
They're
and you
gonna-
just let them soak in there. They're going to cook them.
They're going to
Yeah.
end up be mush. Is what what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
You want the vegetables to be fresh,
Yeah.
right? Next thing we're going to add a little
So
bit.
you would add the veggies right before you're going to serve it then.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
because
okay.
you want that flavor. You want that crunch.
Right.
All right, here we have 2 jalapenos, and we're going to use most of these jalapenos on here.
He ain't kidding. Now these were cored. He had a little special coring tool. If you don't have that, you could cut them in half and then just take the seeds and the white pith out. That, by the way, with most hot peppers, that is where most of the heat is located. But so he did that and then diced just the green part very finely. This is really a mince, not a dice. And it's I can see them in there. I mean, these are not hidden. These are very clearly seen. So this is going to add a really punch of flavor for it.
A lot of flavor. I think the serrano, the jalapeno is actually going to be one of the most flavorful ones. You know, when you're getting it, you want to make sure that it's a firm, nice. So when you cut into it, it's nice and firm.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same as the onion. It's going to like crunch, and it's just going to be. It's just, you know what? It's like Christmas in your mouth. It just makes you happy. You know, like when you do the happy dance.
Christmas in my mouth. I love that.
Look at that. It's got the color.
I'm stealing that glide, by the way.
Sure can. All right. So now the last thing is
But the happy dance is mine.
No, of course. Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, we'll use.
He wouldn't embarrass himself like that. All right, what we got now?
So we got some cilantro that chef perfectly cut right here. He diced it, very nice, perfectly diced. Didn't have to.
Listen, I don't give him grades anymore, so I don't know where this is coming from. And maybe he means that, I don't know. All right, good job.
All right, so I used about half a cup of cilantro in there, and it's all based on how much fish you actually use. So, you know, again, it's going to be up to you. Now that was the final item for our ceviche.
So we're getting ready to plate.
We're going to get ready to
So
plate.
I tell you what I'd like to do is to bring you guys up close and personal so you can see how this is plated. And so I'm going to bring you up and do that, and we're going to plate this thing. And we're getting ever so much closer to my favorite part of the day, and that is tasting time. So we'll do that. Oh, by the way, one of the things about cilantro that I did not know this until a couple of years ago, about 3% of the population hate cilantro. And the reason is that some genetic component, it tastes like soap to them. And so Julia Child was one of those as well. So did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
But in the island that I used to live in, Guam, it was pretty much hated.
Was it really?
Yeah, most of the Chamorro people actually did not care
like
for it.
And listen, you either love it or you don't. I mean, it's there's no in between really.
Yeah, I think
I love it myself. But.
That's what made me leave Guam. I was like, oh, y'all don't eat cilantro. I'm like, I'm not gonna stay here. Sorry. No,
All right,
I'm
guys.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to bring you up close, so I will see you guys around the corner. All right, guys, we're in the final throes of this, and Juan here is going to do some final adjustment of the seasonings if necessary. So it'll be tasting, and I'm going to sneak a taste in too. And then we're going to plate this bad boy. So here we go. Juan.
All right, so you can see we have the desired mix. You know, it's not too liquidy, it's not too soft or hard. You know, it's just the right amount right here. So what I want to do is normally grab right from the center, right where everything was mixed. You know, and just I'm actually looking for salt and flavor just to see if we need anything else.
I'm getting a helping too.
We're good in salt.
Does need a little bit, yeah.
A little bit salt, a little bit of pepper, and that's good. And then some pepper. A little bit of. Let's add a little bit more lime juice.
All right. Yeah, I moved that over there. Sorry about that.
No worries. Here's a little bit more lime juice, kind of. And let's add a little bit more cilantro.
There we go.
All right.
Make myself useful.
Outstanding. And let's try it again. Let's make sure that we got the right stuff. Here you go,
Thank
chef.
you, sir. Go ahead.
All right, let's try it again. Let's do this. Much better.
Oh my gosh.
Stands by itself.
That is unbelievable.
Good flavor.
Now, lime juice, I heard this on a trip I went down to Mexico years ago, that the reason that lime is used on like a beer bottle or on the edge of a plate is it keeps the flies away. Is that true?
I don't know. I never.
Well,
asked.
look, I was in a tourist trap, so I don't know if that was true or not. It's on Cozumel, but that's what one of the Mexicans that were serving me.
Oh,
told
I'm
me.
gonna have to ask one of my cousins. They took my card away a long time ago.
That was rude.
I know.
All right, so let's
sorry,
plate this
folks.
thing.
I joke a lot, so I apologize.
No, that's all good. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to put this in a little bowl. So we're going to put it in this bowl. Then we have another plate where we're going to add some chips on the side. The reason we're doing the bowl is Juan wanted to make sure that the chips were not saturated with the juice from this, because it'll sit and it'll leach out a little bit, right?
Correct.
And so that way it'll keep the chips fresh. Now we are using a national brand, a lime flavored tortilla chip. So we'll be adding that in just a second. We'll take some pictures of it.
All right. Yeah, I need the towel right there, and I'll clean it up.
Oh, the towel, yeah.
Thanks, Chef.
Actually, let me get this cutting board out of the way. All right, and then just a handful of chips.
Correct.
All right, so we're going to bring you back around and shoot this from the front, but essentially it's that simple. We're plated. Got some of these chips. So when we come back around the corner, well, first, let me just tell you, you know the drill. We're going to take a couple pictures. And then it's my favorite this time of the day. It's tasting time. So I'll see you around the corner. Welcome back, kids. And we got this thing plated. Now, Juan has decided he does want to add one more thing. Tell me again how to pronounce that.
We have the tapatio sauce.
Tapatio.
Tapatio sauce right on top. Normally I add it on top, or once I grab a chip full and I add it right to the chip, it actually gives it a spicier taste.
Right.
We Latinos, we like it spicy.
So put a little on my finger. I actually have never had tapatio. You know what? It's got the heat. It absolutely has the heat, but it's not blowing my back of my mouth out. That's good.
Yeah, it's a really good flavor.
Wow.
I don't know what they do, but it's always amazing.
It is. That's a delicious pepper sauce. All right, so now we're going to take a couple pictures, and when we come back, it's going to be tasting time. See you around the corner. All right, my friend, it is my favorite time of the day, and that is tasting time. So, Juan, you do the honor. Show me how we scoop this up.
Oh, well, just grab one of your favorite chips. I personally like a lime chip, just to give it,
a little extra, yeah.
And it just adds that extra flavor to it. And again,
I'm cracking up over here. Here we go.
My goodness. So fresh. Ready for the summer. Ready for the games.
Oh, my.
Guys.
Dude, that is something else. Guys, we're just cranked into the hot summer months. This is perfect. Light dinner. Actually, what I would do with it, because on a hot day, if I've been doing yard work or whatever, I don't like to actually eat a heavy dinner. And so I would probably have this like at 4 in the afternoon, but I'm that age too. But this could be an entire dinner, or it could be a party appetizer.
Oh, absolutely.
But for the summer months, this is light, fresh, and delicious. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it has a lot of flavors, a lot of summer flavors.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the times when we make it when there's sporting events.
Oh, wow.
So when we watch sporting events,
Uh-huh.
you know, when we're playing, you know, have family games or whatever, this is what we do, and it's kind of like it just puts everybody in a really good mood, you know, atmosphere. Another thing is it can be accompanied by alcohol. Obviously, you know, a cerveza would be fantastic.
So what would be your favorite beer to go with this?
To go with this one, I really like a Corona Premier. Also have had a Dos Equis and a Modelo,
Okay.
the Modelo, and then also another one that's really famous for Mexicans drink. It's called Tecate. The Tecate.
I've never had a Tecate.
At Tecate, you actually grab the can, you know, pour some lime on top, a little bit of salt, and it just, all those flavors just go together.
Yeah.
It just kind of bubbles in there. It's really, really, really good.
So when I took this years ago, took a trip down there, I found Sol, S-O-L.
Yeah, Sol is very popular as a.
It's very similar to Pacifico in terms of its flavor, but it's a nice lager. So
yeah, I like Pacifico and I like Sol. No problems. But I think the one that really hits the spot is the Tecate with it. I don't know. It's just. I always grew up with that one.
Guys, you got to make this. It's so simple, and this is so light, refreshing. This is a great summer one. So whether you do it for your family or whether you do it for friends coming over, whatever, make an opportunity to make this. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree. I think it's a nice, summer, spring, even in the fall, it'd be perfect, especially when football rolls back in.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
It's still hot, and this. I mean, but I don't care. You can make this middle of winter for me. I mean, this is delicious. So listen, guys. Hey, thanks again for joining us on the Chef Lance Show. We'll see you the next time. But remember this: a day in the kitchen beats a day of working any day. See you next time.
Awesome. I got to try it again.
Great job. Terrific. That is so freaking good. I just can't stop. Well, I got a figure to keep up, you know?
It's healthy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely healthy. It's just.
This is amazing. Amazingly delicious. Wait. Go home. Come on, let's go eat.
Bye.